Working Interferences is intended for mature audiences. Since the hosts never grew up, someone needs to be the adult. Welcome to Working Interferences with Josh and Lance, the dental advice podcast for the average dentist. Here is Josh and Lance.
Bros, what is up? Welcome to the Working Interferences podcast, a dental advice show. I'm Joshua Austin.
And I am Lance Timmerman.
Lance, as my college girlfriend once told me, we're late.
We are. That we are. This is a comedy of errors as the week progressed.
You had a busy week.
I had a busy week. Yeah.
You had a busy but fulfilling week.
Yeah, yeah.
I would call it a bizet week. You got bizet.
Yeah. Wednesday was a big day. I don't do Chrome all on 6, all on X, upper, lower things simultaneously.
Yeah,
very
I like
often.
Firefox better than Chrome.
Exactly. And I like ExpressVPN, and I want to just keep everything private. It's just no, I had a big case. Luckily, I only had very little hygiene scheduled anyway, so I told Holly, cancel everything. So we didn't see anything other than this one patient. However, a couple people did show up that didn't get the memo, but it ended up being perfect. The person was interested in 6 months miles. Holly collected the money and said, come back next week. We'll take impressions.
Nice.
And then someone else that was interested in a smile called back and put down their money to do a smile next week. So it was a big, productive day on Wednesday.
Good. And how did it go?
I was surprisingly physically sore. Like, I had muscles sore that I'm like, was I even using those? Because, like, even my ass hurts. And I mean my glutes. My glutes, not the asshole. No sodomy on the treatment plan.
Not your beehole.
No.
but your glutes. My glutes were sore this week. It wasn't because of a case. It was because we were doing deadlifts with my trainer. But
gotcha. So the only thing I could figure, I must have been puckering the whole day.
Jesus. I would be too, by the way. I can barely take out a tooth, and I can't place an implant. So doing it all on 6 to me is like...
I bet you could. I had the camera ready, and I was going to dock. I said, I got the whole day. I can take my time and take photos. I have one picture.
Yeah.
The very first picture, and then from that point forward, I'm not stopping to take a photo. Fuck that.
Grand plans always...
Well, it's just one of those things, we're sedating this guy, and then he's got severe apnea, apparently, because he kept choking on his tongue and couldn't breathe and would wake up not knowing where he was. So we had to grab him and put him back down and say, no, you're at the doctor's. We spent half the time. It would have gone faster if we would have just papoosed this guy, but I don't have a papoose, so I wasn't...
Do they make adult papoose boards? And my hunch is you don't get them from a dental distributor. You get them through like
an S&M store or
like
something.
Eros.com or some sort of pornography. Some place you
dominatrix
buy a
to come over.
Sybian or a Fleshlight would also have adult papoose boards, I feel like.
See, I'm thinking some people hire an anesthesiologist to come in and help sedation. We just get a dominatrix.
Get a dominatrix. Yeah, that's great. Get Madame LeVay, and she'll come in and she'll just... take her stiletto and put it on the guy's testicles, and next thing you know, he's sedated.
Mm-hmm. Totally in submission.
And you got a message after the case, yeah?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we messaged the next day because I talked to the wife that night, and he was just sleeping it off. And so the next day, I texted the wife saying, "Hey, how
be careful,"
and said how's he doing? And she's like, oh, it was actually his birthday. This was his birthday gift. It was one of those cases where he came in for his new patient exam. He was crying in the chair. He was just so ashamed of how he looked and functioned. And it was just, you feel for the guy. And so the wife said he was doing fine and could, and I said, soft foods, cake and ice cream is soft. So that's perfect. And then he messaged me a little bit later, just expressing supreme gratitude. It kind of makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
All the stress and the anxiety and the physical trauma to myself. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome. Way to go. Good job.
Thanks. So now I'm going to take a class on how to do what I just did.
Okay, great.
Instead of making it up.
Always good.
Carpet for the horse, whatever.
Fake it. What is it? Fake it before you make it? Fake it
till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
Yep.
We know a few people who might be doing that.
I like pizza.
He's not even faking it. I mean, that's just... I was speaking about other people who we know. Andrew's in Dallas, and I have to fly to Dallas tomorrow. So we're in the middle of this probate thing on Andrea's brother Glenn on his estate.
Right.
Because he was dating a girl for 4 months who is claiming to be his common law wife. So apparently the common law laws, the common laws, as they may be known, are like fucking Outback Steakhouse, man. No rules, just right. There's no fucking definitions. There's it's the craziest shit. And so apparently if you stick your tongue down the throat of somebody, they can claim to be your common law spouse. So we're having this big probate fight.
Wow.
And everything got seized. All of his property got seized by an arbiter. Like a judge ordered all of his stuff to go to an arbiter who would catalog everything and hold on to it until the completion of all this so that stuff doesn't go missing. Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And amongst those things were his big sort of like his most valued possession to him. The thing that he loved the most was his vehicle. He had a 2008 FJ Cruiser, Toyota FJ Cruiser, but it was like all performance modded, snorkel, big wheels, lift kit, all the shit, all the stuff.
All right.
That was his thing. He was always doing stuff on it, always doing projects. And that was just the thing that he loved the most. And so the arbiter has it and had possession of it. And at some point, the arbiter was like, we need to start selling stuff, selling some of these assets to pay for my arbiter fee or whatever.
Okay.
Unless the person claiming to be the wife can pay anything. And she couldn't. So the first thing they sold was the truck, and so we bought it. And they sell it at like rock bottom, like the sort of letter of the law is to sell it at like rock bottom Kelley Blue Book.
Okay.
Well, so that doesn't take into account the modifications at all.
Right.
And the other thing it doesn't take into account is that besides like weird exotic cars, Lambos and Ferraris and stuff like that, the only used car that's going up in value is a FJ Cruiser.
Really?
They don't make them anymore. You cannot find one for anything less than almost double Kelley Blue Book. So if you go on like Auto Trader or I don't know, whatever, True Car, any of those, they all sell for $20,000 plus. And these are all like 10-plus-year-old FJ Cruisers with 100,000 miles on them.
Wow.
And like fairly base model ones. Like there's a couple of them that we found that were somewhat nearby, like within a 500-mile radius, that were like $23,000. And so we got it for way, way, way less. But it was like the car hadn't been moved in 6 months. It had been sitting in a lot, just sitting there. And so once we purchased it for a steal, we had to have it towed to the Toyota dealership there in Dallas. And then they did their diagnostics on it, figure out what it needed. And it just needed some basic stuff.
Change the oil.
But now it's ready. It's all the service is done. It's running well. So now we have to fly to Dallas and drive it home. So Andrea flipped there tonight to hang out with her family, and then I'm flying up first thing in the morning, and then she'll pick me up, and we'll drive it home. Which means now we have 4 fucking cars between 2 people. So I don't know where we're gonna park this thing. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out, I guess, in the driveway, in the street. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Wow. Just put it on blocks on your front
I'm
yard.
sure the homeowners association will fucking love that.
Yep.
I'm sure they will love it.
Just embrace your South heritage.
Yeah, let's just throw up a fucking Confederate flag on it while we're at it, huh?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Lance, this is an advice show.
I guess.
We answer your questions. We answer your questions we find in all those neat little Facebook groups. We answer questions from Reddit. We strive to help dentists and dental team members with our own unique brand of advice. So please, we need your questions. They are the sustenance we crave. You can submit your questions to workinginterferences@gmail.com. Now, we don't want just any question, do we, Lance?
Oh, fuck no.
We don't want a bunch of boring questions like, what's the best used vehicle? Because we all know that a wood-paneled Wagoneer is the greatest used vehicle of all time. We want the questions that Gordon Christensen cannot answer. I don't know this to be true, but I know it in my heart to be true. Gordon and Rella absolutely fucking drove around a wood-paneled Wagoneer at some point, like in the mid-'80s.
It's got to be true.
That is actually a rad car, and if I could, like, that's one that I would fucking drive, like a nicely restored wood-paneled Wagoneer. Wouldn't you?
Of course, yeah.
There's one I see every so often when I'm driving to work that looks like an 82 or something like that, and it just looks fucking badass. Looks really cool. I would actually love to have a wood-paneled Wagoneer.
That would be fun.
That seems like a car that, like, your parents may have had. It seems like a real, like, Pacific Northwest family car.
It didn't have the wood panels, but it was definitely a Plymouth station wagon with the seat in the back where you could face the other drivers.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The Wagoneer was so ahead of its time because, like, in the time of the station wagon, this is a vehicle isn't basically an SUV like you see now.
Right.
When there was no other, like, there was not an SUV. There were trucks. Right. Mm-hmm. And there was a fucking El Camino, which was a weird combo. But there was no, like, there were station wagons and cars and trucks. There wasn't an SUV. And then Wagoneers came out. And it was like, families had Wagoneers. And that was like, that's just 2 decades ahead of their time. It was a Jeep Wagoneer, right? Is that who made the Wagoneer? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I know
ours was a Jeep Wagoneer.
Ours was a Plymouth.
Well, you had a station wagon.
Yeah. But it looked
Jeep
just like
Wagoneer is such a badass vehicle. Let's see what year's a Jeep Wagoneer. They need to remake the Wagoneer. Oh, it's coming in 2021. A Grand Wagoneer.
All right.
Let's see if it has... it does not. No, it's bullshit. It looks like a Tahoe. That's not what it's supposed to be. I want a fucking wood-paneled... I want it to look like the old one did. I don't want any of this shit. I don't want any of this newfangled stuff. I want a square, boxy, wood-paneled Jeep Wagoneer.
There it is. Yeah.
That is such a badass car.
That would
62 to 91. Wow. It was manufactured by Kaiser Jeep in 1963. That sounds like a fucking German ruler. Yeah. It was like starting some shit in the 1800s. And then American Motors, 70 to 87. So it was 63 to 91 was the Wagoneer. The actual, it was called other things, a Jeep Aho, a Jeep Simorg, but it was actually a Grand Wagoneer from 84 to 91. Man, that's a badass car. I would fucking drive one of these today.
Yeah, for sure.
If they had one that like had GPS and like Bluetooth and was like restored, but like restored with new the new technology. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd cream my panties on that one.
I think you would.
Question 1. Let's see here. Reddit user, your mama. It's your mama ama. Your mama ama. Yeah. Mama. Should I get a tattoo sleeve? I'm in my first year of practice in the U.S., and I have always been putting off getting ink, fearing it will get in the way of getting into D school, finding a job, patients judging me, etc. But now that I'm finally practicing and wearing long sleeves all the time anyways, the only ones that will know are my staff and colleagues. Are there any cons to getting one? Anyone here have tattoos and chime in? Thank you.
Well, if you're a periodontist, then that's a bad idea.
So, on funny shit for dentists and dental team members, if you are interested in joining that group, I guess just message you or me on Facebook, and we'll put you in because it's a hidden group.
It's invite only.
It's a shit show. If you get offended by anything, don't come into that group because we don't want you.
Have a thick skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was somebody, I guess, a team member of Brandon White from Oregon started doing tattoos and was doing them in the office, but like on Saturdays or something in one of the operatories. Was that the deal?
Actually, I'm not sure. I didn't realize it was being done on site. I just know that she got her certification, was going to go branch off and start her own business or
something like that.
Yeah.
And some old periodontist named Doug was in off the top rope just saying how everyone who has a tattoo is a loser.
Yeah.
So something to that effect. Like it's the downfall of society or some shit.
Yeah, the viewpoint that would be typical in the 40s.
It's like what my fucking grandma would say.
Yeah, only a sailor would have a tattoo.
Yeah. And of course, immediately got railed by everyone. And then I think we kicked him out.
Yeah, finally I said, fuck it. And I just banned his ass.
Yeah, if you think that about tattoos, like all the other posts on there must be a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
If tattoos are a bridge too far, all the other stuff on there probably not a great look for our guy Doug. No. I don't know. You do not have a tattoo, is that correct?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what you have. Is it a Sonics logo, like as a tramp stamp?
It's a Celtic symbol on my shoulder blade.
Okay. I thought you'd have a back piece of Gary Payton throwing an alley-oop to Sean Kemp.
Well, that's my tramp stamp. That's right down below in the.
That'd be badass.
Lumbar.
I'd get that. I would totally get that.
Duncan right my asshole.
Do you remember that there was one alley-oop from Payton to Kemp that was like Kemp grabbed the rim and like spun all the way around. Do you remember that one?
Right
I would
on
get
top
that.
of
That's
Alton Lister.
Is that who it was?
It was playing against the Golden State Warriors.
The inventor of Listerine, by the way. Alton Lister, Golden State Warrior.
Yeah.
And I think 1987. Yeah, 1987 was when he invented that. I do not have a tattoo.
Okay.
So I had
No,
there's nothing in my life that's that permanent.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Like I've thought at one point I was like, oh, if I'd get a tattoo, I'd totally get a Dave Matthews Band, like the like Dancing Nancy logo.
Yeah.
And I look back on that now, I was like, fucking glad I didn't do that. And then I was like, oh, like I'll get a longhorn. If I had to get something, I'd get a longhorn. Like, fuck, man, we've been irrelevant for 10 years. Fucking glad I didn't get that. There's few things in my life that I think are that permanent. If you held a gun to my head and said I had to get a tattoo, you want to know like what would be on the list of things I would get?
Yeah.
I would get Andy tattooed on the bottom of my foot. Now, I know that'd be fucking agony, but
Toy Story?
Yeah, because I just think it's funny. I don't know. It's like no one's ever gonna fucking see it.
Yeah,
it's on the bottom of your foot, like it's literally. But like do it in that same sort of like kids' handwriting.
Yeah,
That would be like among the things that I would pick. But we had a bunch of our pros department was chock full of fucking nathologists, and almost all nathologists have a tattoo. Have you ever heard about this?
I think you mentioned it a couple years ago on the show.
They have this tattoo. Like right here, I have to move my headphones to show you.
Okay.
Like right here.
Pindexing their condyles?
It's their hinge axis movement or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would get this fucking tattoo there. And somehow that helps you get CR. Like a repeatable CR. I don't know how that works at all. I guess it has to do with some sort of fully adjustable FACEBO that they use or a panographic tracing device or something. My dad had one.
Steward articulator? Yeah,
my dad had one actually.
A tattoo?
Yeah, the fucking hinge axis movement. He was a nathologist. He was heavy into that shit.
All right.
And because that's like the wildest thing to like. Prosthodontists are like the most fucking buttoned up people in the world.
Yeah,
you know, and like especially old prosthodontists from like the 60s and 70s.
Right, but that group's a bunch of pirates with tattoos and their hinge.
They all have face tattoos. Like I mean, it's not like Mike Tyson, but
yeah, but it's 2 steps away from a teardrop in the corner of their eye.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a face tattoo.
Exactly.
It's still a face tattoo.
Spiderweb on their elbow.
Fucking prosthodontists. So never say that prosthodontists are squares, man.
Okay.
All these old prosthodontists, and they were fucking rocking face tattoos.
Okay. All right.
The other thing I joked around about getting is like if I had to get a tattoo is, do you remember Passalt's diagram?
Yeah. Envelope
that was
function.
Like, yeah, it's like it's one of those things that only matters your freshman year of dental school.
Yeah. Yeah.
No dentist is ever like, fuck, man, hold on, let me look at Passalt's diagram. Like, never fucking done anything. I remember like that was on so many tests. We had to label it, we had to draw it, and it was just fucking worthless. Like, like you might as well like just make us write out the Krebs cycle. That's as as useful for everyday dentistry as the fucking Posalt's diagram. I don't know who Posalt was. Apparently
he's an
occlusionist.
asshole.
Yeah, from the 1700s or something.
Yeah, fuck him.
And a stupid diagram. It's fine. I get it, but like, I don't know why it was such a big deal in dental anatomy. Like, it was a huge deal for our dental anatomy class. We had to. It just has impacted my career zero.
Right.
For something that was made so important.
Uh-huh.
The other thing that was made so important in dental school that's impacted my career zero. Do you remember? Did you guys have to do like tooth ID, where there's basically just a tooth on a like you'd go from station to station. There was just a tooth, and you have to be able to tell like which tooth number is it.
Yeah, we did that.
You ever just fucking walk in through your office and find a tooth on the ground and have to explain what tooth number it is? It's never happened to me once.
No, that was that's a.
There's always some other teeth around,
mm-hmm.
and I always have some kind of context of what arch it's in.
Yeah,
is it on the left or the right?
That's a lower tooth. I know that.
It's like, what the fuck is that? What good was that for? Who did that serve?
I have no idea.
It was just fucking busy work. It was the 16th grade version of busy work is what it was.
Yeah, we're trying to validate our license.
It was so stupid in retrospect. It was so stupid. The fucking tooth ID. It's so dumb. Dental school is broken. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
What was this guy's question again? Oh yeah, tattoos.
Tattoos. Getting a sleeve.
Here's what I think of. There's a guy who's very well regarded, who I don't know at all, but from his social media and from people I know, who I respect, who respect him.
Okay.
I know that he is, he's a good dude. And he has a whole fucking sleeve, and his name is Adamo Nodar Antonio or something like that. He's in Long Island. I'm butchering his name. He goes by Elvis Adamo online, but I don't think his name is actually Elvis.
Yeah, does a bunch of photography of close-ups of teeth and lips.
Adamo Nodar Antonio, and he is he's like up for AACD accreditation. He does the Impress course with Amanda C. He's fucking badass.
Sure. And
he's got a whole fucking sleeve of tattoos, and it doesn't seem to be hurting him at all. He's got plenty of stages. His shit is good. You know, his fucking work is impeccable. His photography shit is unbelievable. Like, if you have a tattoo sleeve and you're good, it's all that fucking matters. It's all that matters is just being good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a sleeve. Yeah. All that matters is that you're good. So I don't think it fucking matters. Who gives a shit?
No, not at all. The only people that might even look sideways are the geriatrics that are almost dead anyway. So
if they're prosthodontists, they have a fucking face tattoo. You throw that shit back at them.
Yeah.
Let me see your fucking hinge axis tattoo.
Yeah.
Turncoat. And like he said, he's wearing sleeves all the time.
Yeah.
He's wearing long sleeves now with patients.
Yeah. Wouldn't hesitate at all. You should go for it.
I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe don't get it on your hand or something.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, even then, you're going to have gloves on, so that shit doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like, I really think, like, a neck tattoo, anything above, like, the collar, that's probably where I'd cut it off. The neck is probably rough.
I would agree. Unless you're, of a certain ethnicity, and that means something culturally.
Well, that's like Maori, know.
Exactly.
Shit. That's a whole different
exactly
ball of wax. That's what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get a fucking ball of wax.
Ball of wax. Tattoo a ball of wax.
Tattooed on my back.
Yeah.
You know what I would get? Here's a contender. If you held a gun up to my head and said I had to get a tattoo, I'd get a back piece of Eric Stoltz from the movie Mask with Cher. You remember that one?
I do.
Where he had that like weird head.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I never saw it, but I saw pictures of it, and I just never saw it. But I know the face.
It's not good. Okay. He has some weird anomaly. And something's wrong with his face, and then he dies at the end. And Cher is somehow like a biker chick or something.
Is she not his mom? I assumed it was she.
No, she is his mom.
Oh, okay.
But there's a bunch of bikers or something, and he dies, and all the bikers, like, I don't know. Let's read this is from Google. Rocky Dennis, played by Eric Stoltz, is an intelligent, outgoing, and humorous teenager who suffers from a facial deformity called lionitis. and has now outlived his life expectancy. While his mother, Rusty, Cher, struggles to fight for his acceptance in the public school system, he proves himself to be a highly accomplished student. Though Rocky endures ridicule for his appearance, he finds love and respect from his mother's biker gang family and experiences first love. So fucking wild premise for a movie.
All right.
You want the rundown of the cast here?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good. So it's Eric Stoltz, who has a sliding doors career because he was supposed to be Marty McFly. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
And then he was like a month into filming, and then they decided that wasn't working. So he then goes off and does Pulp Fiction and becomes a Noah Baumbach muse and is in every Noah Baumbach movie. Cher's fucking iconic. Sam Elliott, who is also iconic.
Yeah.
Laura Dern. That's the fucking head. That's a strong fucking four of cast. Estelle Getty
from Golden Girls
is in this movie. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else who would be Creed Bratton from The Office. Creed from The Office.
Oh, yeah. That's
Creed Bratton. Nick Cassavetes is in a bunch of movies. He's kind of that guy. One of the guys that you just see. And you're like, oh, that's that guy. I've seen him in 100 movies. That's like the sort of those are the people that you would know from. That's a wild cast. That is a wild ass cast. Estelle Getty fucking rocking it in Mask with fucking Rocky Dennis. Yeah, so I'd get a back piece of Rocky Dennis. That's what I'd get. That'd be one of the things that I got. You're not into that?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the IMDb page, looking at all the other people in there.
No, look at Google images of Rocky Dennis is what you need to look at.
Okay.
It's a tough one. It's a tough look. It's a very tough look. And there's pictures of the real Rocky Dennis, which is actually a tougher look than the made up Rocky Dennis.
Yeah. That's an unfortunate.
That's called lionitis. Whatever can we call it football head?
You probably could.
I feel like football head is more appropriate than lion. Does that look like a lion to you?
No. The eyes were so far apart that...
it's a football head. They should just call it football head. He's got the football head.
Right.
Oh, what happened to Rocky? Oh, he got the football head. Oh, shit. Yeah, the football head.
Yeah.
That's... Fuck. Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Social distance. Football head. Oh, man. Football head.
Oh my God, someone made a doll. On Etsy, there's a Rocky Dennis doll.
Is it like an action figure?
No, it's
like a plush doll,
Cabbage Patch Kid looking thing.
Oh, well, all Cabbage Patches fucking look like that.
But this one's like
your kids are too young. Clint may be Cabbage Patch time.
Yeah. He would have. I don't think we got one. We denied him a lot of joy in life. So, there is an action figure, Rocky Dennis as a boxer.
What made me think of this? I don't even know why I thought of fucking Rocky Dennis. The doll is tough. That's a very much a haunted doll. The action figure is fucking badass. The doll is rough. The doll looks like Chucky. That's some Chucky shit. Yeah, this is a Rocky and Rocky Dennis mashup.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. I'd buy that action figure for sure. So this movie, Mask, did win the Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
Okay.
Just FYI.
All right.
And Cher won the Best Actress Award at Cannes Film Festival. Cannes or Cannes? What would you say? Cannes? At Cannes Film Festival, Cher won for her portrayal of Rusty, the biker chick who birthed Rocky Dennis.
Wow.
So, there we
All
go.
right.
How about that? We learn something new every day. Get the fucking sleeve. Who gives a shit? Get fucking Rocky Dennis tattooed all over your arm. Get Cher. Get old football head over here. Get the Posalt's diagram. Get Sean Kemp dunking. Get whatever the fuck you want.
Go for it.
Get fuck Doug, I think was a tattoo idea that was going around.
Yeah.
Let's check out your Mama Ama. Let's see if there's anything else here. I don't want to get into that. I do, but I don't. Yeah, this is going to take the rest of the episode if we do this.
Going down a dark path?
No, it's not dark. It's just there's stuff to talk about.
Oh, gotcha.
There is stuff to talk about. All right, fuck it. Let's do it. We'll save the other one for next week.
Okay.
Lacerated the lingual floor mucosa when patient jerked their head after getting startled by new assistant suctioning. So I was doing a crown prep and I nicked the floor of the mouth with a diamond burr, 2 R's, weirdly. B-U-R-R.
Yeah.
Is that like Diamond Aaron Burr?
Exactly.
Diamond Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Any other Burrs that you know? Diamond Hannibal Burr S. When the patient jerked her head, it was about a 1/2 inch in length, but the yellowish lymphatic tissue bulged out. Luckily, there was barely any bleeding, and the cut was limited to the mucosa. I ended up reassuring the patient that everything is fine, placed a couple of silk sutures to seal that lymphatic ? Tissue bulging out. It may have just been adipose tissue. There's actually a decent amount of fat down there. And put her on a week's course of amoxicillin and scheduled her for reval. I maintained my composure, but I was sweating and nervous the entire time since this never happened to me before. Are there any precautions I should have taken? Thank you. Also share your mess ups to make me feel better, please. So if you've never done this, if you've never nicked the floor of the mouth, then you've never fucking prepped a crown in the lower posterior. This
shit just happens.
Every like group chat that I'm in several like dentist group chats. This is like once a year, some very esteemed, experienced colleague will say, fuck, I just cut, I just nicked the floor of the mouth. I've done it 3 times over my career. 2 of them very small and like 1 suture, no big deal. Those eerily don't bleed when you get them like that. They're just like, they don't bleed. Yeah. It's crazy. And it's just a black hole, which is scary. The black hole is the scary part. Yeah. Because you're looking in there and you're like, there's some serious fucking shit down there that I don't want to deal with. There's shit down there I don't want to know about. So you throw a fucking suture in it and you're done. I did it a couple years ago, the worst one that I've done. And is this patient, we may have talked about it. This patient who's a really hard patient to work on, but he had a bunch of caries and like that fucking like 360 degree caries, that decay pattern that's like the caries don't go into the tooth, they fucking wrap around it like it's playing. Do you remember those like, I don't know, like 18th century children would have that like
ring around the rosies
with the ribbon? Yeah, ring around the rosie, and they would dance in a circle around this fucking pole
full
with
of
ribbon.
Posies, ashes, we all fall down.
This fucking caries like that. I hate those fucking old kids, and I hate these caries. So it's like the only thing you could do is endo, crown lengthening, and crowns. And he wanted to save them, and he was like, I was a shithead with my teeth, and now I want, I'm in my late 20s, early 30s now, like I want to take care of them. So it was a whole quadrant of send them for endo with post preps, then had the periodontist do crown lengthening, and then now it's my time to shine, and he's just hard to work on. And I'm prepping 18, and I just fucking watch like his lingual mucosa just wrap around my burr. Yeah. And it's like a fucking water spout of blood. And so I'm like, compress and, all the shit, like trying to get it to stop. I inject some 1 to 50 around it, trying to get it to stop. Finally, like, fuck it, let me just throw a suture in it. And it's still like, it's just oozing out of it. Like, fuck, what do I do? So I sent him to, I stop, like all the teeth are endo treated. So I'm like, well, I don't have to provisionalize these. Like they're all pretty much prepped. Like I was towards the end. So I was like, I can just leave them like this and get this situated and then deal with these after he stops bleeding. It's like, I'm not going to get a fucking impression or a scan today,
right?
with the fountain of blood. So that's out. So I sent him to the oral surgeon. The oral surgeon like had to take out the sutures that I put in. Surprise, surprise. Those weren't very good. And like cauterize, this little, arterial that I had nicked down there and then resuture them up. So that one was scary, but that one was like not a clean cut at all. And it was like, I watched that tissue get wrapped in that burr. And it was like, it was like around the, like, how you sometimes, like if you nick a cotton roll with the burr and it like grabs the cotton and like spins the cotton around and you have to like unpeel
or the rubber
it.
dam and it makes that wheeling wheezy sound.
Yeah. And it just grabs it and like wraps around the burr, like
it's
around
more
the hub.
and more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what fucking happened to his tissue. And I had to like unwrap his tissue.
Yeah.
And so it's like, obviously that one was just not a clean cut. If you get those clean, it's like totally not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just like this. Throw a suture in it. I didn't think she needed the antibiotics, to be fucking honest with you.
Yeah. I've done it before, and I looked at it as I was starting to try to do a suture, and it was just tore the mucosa. So I just didn't even suture it, and it came out fine. Had her back 24 hours later. And
yeah, I mean, the suture is like, I think it will close up without it, but it's like also just the idea of like shit getting down in there, you know? Mm-hmm. Did you grow up, I'm assuming you grew up in an older house at some point, a house that was built in the 60s or 70s or 80s.
Yeah, 70s.
Okay. In the bathroom, was there like a little slot like in the medicine cabinet to put razors?
I don't recall there being any.
Okay. In the house that I grew up in, there was a little slit in the medicine cabinet and it said razors here. And so I was like, I always was like, what the fuck is this? And so, like my dad used to shave with like, it wasn't like a disposable razor like we have now. It was like
single blades.
It was a single blade. It was like a fucking razor blade. And you would like unscrew this thing and slide a razor blade into it, screw it back in. And so when you were done with it, you would take it out of your razor blade before you put a new one in, and you put it into this slot. And this slot just like went into the wall, which is fine until you need to remodel. And then when you open up the wall, then there's all these fucking razor blades in there. And so that's like, it's like what
that type of razor, but I know.
I'm sure I would be willing to bet in that medicine cabinet, I bet there was a slot and you just stuck your razor blades in there. And that's like what I would worry about, like just food going down into that fucking razor blade slot that's now in the bottom of the floor of the mouth and just getting down in that, I don't know, what is that? The submental triangle? Submandibular triangle?
Yeah.
God, do you remember after learning all that shit in gross anatomy?
Yeah, I do. Those are
we used to have these weird questions that were like, we used to have questions like this that were like, you're prepping a crown and your burr cuts through the floor of the mouth. Describe the anatomical landmarks that you would cut through if you did this or whatever. And you said like, I remember those were like a lot of our questions that we had. Were shit like that. And I remember like having to like sit and like draw it out on the paper, like figure out like what it would go through. If you've never done this, you haven't prepped enough crowns. It will happen to everybody eventually.
Yep.
Just when you just hope it's a clean one. And I don't think that was lymphatic tissue at all. I think that was adipose tissue.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of adipose down there. And that's what that yellowish shit looks like. Bless you.
Thank you.
You all right? You got the Rona? What's going on?
I can't smell anything. That's
a twofer. Are you always can you do multiples, or are you just a one?
Sometimes it'll go a few. Mm-hmm.
I've
developed allergies over the years. I didn't used to.
I'm a one-timer, man. One time and done for at least 30 minutes, 45.
Jealous.
This is really interesting. Okay. So this person is obviously a dentist.
Right.
But then they posted this. I don't. Maybe this wasn't them. I guess I don't know. This is in the subreddit of dentistry. Healthy 30 male. What is this on my palate? Asymptomatic. You're a fucking dentist. Why are you asking Reddit?
I don't know. There are some dentists that I'm wondering how much experience do you have? I got a message through a website that I answer questions for, and it's the message was supposed to be a lead for a veneer case, but it says, "Hi, I'm a cosmetic dentist in some other country. Can I put veneers on lower teeth on a deep bite?" I'm sitting there going, you just told me you're a cosmetic dentist. You don't know?
Well, other countries, for depending on where, you could totally throw that shit right out the door.
Yeah.
What is your differential on this tooth pain? No significant medical history. Anterior tooth, no history of trauma or any restorative work. Started bothering the patient last night after drinking hot fluids. The pain wasn't severe and it went away, so the patient was able to fall asleep. They woke up with barely any pain but a slight sensitivity in that tooth. They had hot coffee for breakfast, and the pain became excruciating. The only thing that keeps pain away is ice water, which they have to sip every 30 seconds or so, or else excruciating pain returns. They've been sipping on it all day. There is pain on percussion, but not on biting. There's no swelling or discomfort to palpation anywhere in the vestibule or palate. There's slight interproximal discoloration, but they do have mild generalized staining. I know it's hard to know anything for sure, but without your own clinical exam and PA, but will this tooth definitely need endo? What would your guesses be as far as etiology and diagnosis? It's not that hard. That's like when somebody has to put cold water on a tooth, basically. So at that point, like just the body heat, the heat of like the normal body temperature of the mouth is enough to trigger the discomfort, and you need to cool the tooth down. There's no doubt about it that is irreversible pulpitis.
Yeah, that's it.
And that is definitely endo.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, to me, that's the diagnosis. I don't give a fuck what the etiology is, to be honest with you.
No.
Because it needs endo.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not caries that make it unrestorable, I don't really care. And it doesn't really matter. Like, all right, maybe they got kicked in the face 30 years ago in soccer. Who gives a shit? Yeah. It doesn't change anything. Endo still got to be fucking done. So do it.
Do it or pull it.
On one like that, like, I do care about etiology if it's like sort of more mysterious. Like, does it need endo or does it not? I will care more about it at that point. But on one like that where I know it needs endo, who gives a shit? Just do the fucking endo. Mm-hmm. If you're treatment planning multiple units of fixed on a fully dentate person, are you mounting casts in CR or MIP? It's a good question for you.
Yeah, usually it's keeping their same bite. MIP.
It depends on how many units you're doing. Multiple units. Does multiple units mean 2 or does it mean 20?
Yeah.
Because if it means 20, that's a different answer.
Probably.
Well, it depends.
I'm probably not going in CR.
But I mean,
I don't do CR.
So here's the thing, though. If you're obliterating their vertical, if you're prepping an entire arch, I'm going
to maintain their bite. That's going to be the segmented bite registration.
Yeah, but I mean, if you need to open their bite, at that point, you're trying to make CR and CO coincident. If you're opening a bite, that's sort of what your goal is.
If I'm opening a bite, I'll probably have something to maintain that bite before I go to restorative. Don't take away any enamel, have them in an orthotic or something, open them up, adapt to it.
So to me, I would restore. To me, if I'm prepping a full arch, and I don't want to get into like a fucking panky debate or any shit like that. If I'm prepping a full arch, I'm going to establish their CR with a leaf gauge. And then I'm going to mark, put a mark on their nose and their chin. And then I'm going to prep the arch. Then I'm going to use that leaf gauge to get them back to that point where CR was. It's going to be a different number of leaves because I've now prepped 2 structure away. And so it's obviously a different number of leaves is going to be required to get them back to that spot where they're the same vertical dimension. And that's where I take my bite registration. So to me, at that point, like once you prep an entire arch, you're really, I mean, at that point, you're really kind of making CR and CO coincident. Or, I mean, the ideal design should lead you that way.
Yeah, I don't do anything in CR, so I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I bet you do. You just, I mean, I think you are. You're just not like specifically saying it that way.
Okay.
So it gets into this whole, because of Panky and because of all that shit and because of LVI and the fucking neuromuscular bullshit of all of that, like you have to do all this shit to get to CR. It's not really true. CR can be changed. Like you're just like, you're going to make sure their condyles are seated and you're going to get a bite registration at the vertical dimension that you want them to be at. Right. And that's going to be, as long as their condyles are seated, if their condyles are fully seated.
I don't even care about the condyles. I just want them in a position that's functional and comfortable.
I bet you're checking though. I bet like it kind of ends up getting there. I don't know. How is the expiration date for dental materials determined?
It's probably arbitrary. I was looking at a few things and I noticed, oh shit, this expired. But why?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of like industry standards about like how long. It depends on what it is, right?
Yeah.
Do like micro brushes? Yeah. Well, like there's an expiration date on micro brushes, right? Like, come on, that. Like those fucking things don't expire. You know what I mean? But like adhesive.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use expired adhesive.
No, the solvent's already evaporated and shit. It's not.
Yeah,
the product
exactly. Like that's something that probably does.
They figured the math out.
Yeah, there probably is something there. Fluoride varnish probably gets dry and crusty.
Probably.
Like a cum rag.
You ever broken
so I
a
probably
towel?
wouldn't use that. But if you have like you said an implant that expires, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much any good implant company worth their salt, you send them that, they'll send you a new one, right?
Yep.
Okay. Or you talk to the rep, they'll trade it out for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know. So when we have composite that expires, I don't throw it away. I use it either on like a sort of a quick and dirty wax up kind of situation. Like somebody comes in, they break off a cusp. I'll throw some of that expired composite on there just to get a preliminary impression.
Yep.
Because none of that's staying in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like it's fine enough for just holding the space. It's like it's basically utility wax at that point.
Exactly.
Or I'll use it in the lab in the same scenario. So don't throw your old composite away. There's uses for it and stuff like that. You can also practice with it. I mean, that's a decent. You got some old composite that expired. You can practice like layering stuff. Use it to make your shade tabs. Some people make custom shade tabs for all of their composites.
That's amazing.
So use your shit like that.
I'm way too lazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the deal is like a A2 from Filtech is probably not the same as an A2 from Ivoclar Tetric Prime. Those are probably slightly different, and so if you had different composite systems, it may be, and you're doing a bunch of like resin veneers or something like that, may be a good idea. Class 2 composite matrix adaptation question. D4 here. I'm currently trying to figure out how to achieve sealing the buccolingual walls of a proximal box. Everyone always stresses the importance of sealing the gingival floor, but it's never been an issue. With tooth morphology being variable, I always get varying levels of adaptation with either sectional matrix or Tafelmeyer. I make sure to burnish the contact and manipulate the matrix to seal out the box, but I always end up getting buccolingual flash. I understand that that's the norm. People use scalers and polishers to remove the flash, but then interproximal surfaces become bumpy. What are your tips and tricks for restoring interproximal plus marginal ridge morphology on a class 2? Those are two different questions. Two very different questions. Yeah. I love how you threw a different question in at the end. If I'm going to get flash, that's where I want it.
Yeah.
I want it a buccolingual, right? That's where you can take it.
Contour it.
Yeah, and the appropriate, I mean, that's like the whole fucking BioClear system is...
Exactly.
You're going to get a shit ton of flash on the buccolingual. If you're getting that bumpy... it says...
Probably using a high speed. They're getting a bumpy because they're trying to contour with a high speed. They just... Soft flex disc.
Use a disc, and be careful not to carve open a cheek, so do it on low speed and use a small one. Mm-hmm. And contour it with a soft flex disc like the pinkish one.
Yeah.
And that will take care of that and make it nice. You can get sort of that infinity edge kind of deal, especially if you make sure you really get that flowable out there. Mm-hmm. You can really finish that out really nicely. Yeah. So to me, the buccolingual, I don't give a shit about.
Exactly. I want to polish it back.
Don't use a Tafelmeyer. If you're using composite, you should not use a Tafelmeyer.
Nope.
You need to use a sectional matrix. Typically, the sectional matrices, most of the time, seal pretty good on the buccolingual. It's not really an issue there. Mm-hmm. It's more of the gingival. The gingival are the ones you got to worry about, because if you get flash on the gingival, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You are fucked with like that dick from the shirtless COVID guy.
The shirtless COVID guy, I'm not...
The guy, the meme that was like the whole COVID meme. The guy that's sitting with no shirt and he's naked. He's sitting on a bed. He's got a huge dong.
Oh, the guy the actor that's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. I didn't relate him to COVID, so I was like,
well, he was like the sort of mascot, especially early on in quarantine. He was in every fucking meme. Yeah, so I don't, the buccolingual, bring it on. The more flash, the better.
Uh-huh.
Just not in that, you gotta seal the gingival. That's just the bottom line. The bottom line. So there's a lot of questions on this. That's why I'm like, if we get into this, we're fucking into it. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, this is the end right here. We're doing, this one is, this is from Unpopular Opinion.
Okay.
Everyone is freaking out about pineapple on pizza when the real crime is cream cheese and sushi. I'm fucking triggered and attacked right now. Fuck you. Cream cheese and sushi is fucking amazing.
Yep.
I understand it's not real Japanese sushi. I get it, bro. However, it's fucking great.
It's
Any
delicious.
roll that has cream cheese in it, I'm all over it. Like a fucking fat kid on cream cheese, man. I'm like just in it. Uh-huh. Love it. I love a Philadelphia roll.
Totally.
Fucking great. That's not only an unpopular opinion, there's a fucking wrong
It's just
opinion.
wrong. Yeah.
It's just wrong.
It's empirically wrong.
Pineapple on pizza, I'm not as I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like,
I'll eat it.
Guess, whatever. It's a nice, zing of acid. It's like, it would never be my choice, but if I was pretty fucked up and that was there's a couple slices of that left, I'd still probably eat it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that of that as a crime.
No.
But I fucking love cream cheese and sushi.
Yeah, that's just a mandatory flavor.
I need it. Actually, I much prefer it. Man, there's a lot more on here. A lot more dental questions, but I don't want to. We're already 48 minutes in. All right. That's it. That's gonna do it for tonight, Lance. We can't. After that, we can't get into this anymore.
Can't.
Whose turn is it for a song? I think it's yours.
It is mine.
Tell me about your song, motherfucker.
Aren't you gonna close up everything first?
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. It's Friday.
Yeah.
It's been a long week.
I'm
thirsty. I'm tired. I got
crack it up, grip it and rip it.
So we've talked before about the shortage of diet sodas. It's now come around. We've talked about all the new Dr. Pepper Zeros. I found this bad boy the other day. Pepsi Zero Mango. And it's delightful. It's a summer. I spilled it on my microphone.
You got the summer in your mouth?
I'm just shotgunning it. I literally fucking spilled it all over the microphone.
Oh.
It's so choice. It's so good. It's summery. It's light. It's not like a pounding mango. It's not like... You remember Mango from Saturday Night Live?
I do.
It's not like you gave him 5 Viagras and told him to go nuts. It's very subtle. It's a subtle mango. It's delightful. It's a very nice summer. It would be really delightful with some rum if you were hanging around the pool, or had listened to some Sublime or something as a song of the summer.
Perfect.
So I highly recommend this Pepsi Zero Sugar Mango. This has been Diet Soda Corner. Hey, give us a rating if you like cream cheese and sushi. Tell friends about the show, and that's how we grow the show one new listener at a time. Give us a rating. What's your favorite number?
Big fan of 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you had to have any number of cans of Pepsi Zero Mango, how many would you want?
Going straight for 5.
Yeah, give me 5 cans. I can shotgun 5 of those bad boys pretty quickly. 5 stars, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify for flicking through Podbean. Flick 5 stars. Hit us up on the web, workinginterferences.com. Hit us up on all the social bullshits. Facebook, Working Interferences with Josh and Lance. The Hidden Secret Group, Funny Shit for Dentist and Dental Team members. Twitter, at Winterferences. Instagram, at Winterferences. Lance can be found on Instagram, at drtimmermandmd. I can be found on Instagram, at Joshua Austin DDS. Mash that follow button, just like I mashed a Pepsi Zero Mango down my throat and onto the microphone. I literally will have to I'm drying this right now. Lance can see I'm fucking drying it with my shirt because I spilled.
It looks like you're doing something else because the camera angle is.
You can't say.
That sounds about right.
That looks right. Polishing something. Lance, tell me about your song. Let me guess, it's British.
It is not. So,
wow.
Yeah, so many times if I have a band I just love and they're going to release something, sometimes you can pre-order it and it just automatically downloads to your phone whether you were ready for it or not. One such band, one of my favorite bands of all time, Weezer, had their new album finally drop.
And how is it?
I think it's fantastic. It's a little bit it's kind of like the 80s metal rock sound to it.
Okay. So they're very much like several bands. Neil Young does this a lot, where it's just like a whole album is just a concept, basically. And it doesn't sound anything like the previous album. Their previous album was all covers. That's where Africa was.
Well, and then they had one came out in January. It was OK Human, kind of instead of OK Computer, which a lot more symphonic, and it was just experimental. It was weird. This one's called Van Weezer is the name of the album. So you're thinking Van Halen.
Yeah.
And so the song I chose, song number 4, is I Need Some of That. Your mango drink. I need some of that.
I need some of that. I need it. I'm interested in hearing it. A lot of traditional Weezer peeps did not love the cover album, which I get.
Yeah, I got that for a lot of people.
But they're churning out a lot of fucking music, man. I mean, it's still hard to put together a whole album of covers. It's not easy.
Yeah, and then for OK Human to come out just a couple months ago.
Yeah, and then now to have another new album, it's kind of wild.
That's great.
Rivers Cuomo, I guess, just using the pandemic to be the best he can be. I guess lock him up and just nothing else to do.
Yeah.
These fucking Harvard grads, man.
Yeah,
Didn't he go to Harvard?
He did.
Jesus.
Dropped out of a rock band so he could go get educated, and then
just went right back and began just went and making hits, and 30 years later, still cranking. Fucking Weezer was popular when I was in high school. Buddy Holly dropped in like 95, maybe 96. I was in high school. Still they immediately became a huge band. I think they included the video to Buddy Holly like on Windows 95.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And still, like, what are we at? I mean, it's 2021. It's 30 years later.
Yeah.
25 years later.
Okay.
Still fucking relevant.
Yeah.
Like, still an everyday, like, a household name. Weezer. It's fucking wild. It's crazy.
Yeah. I take my daughter, my youngest, to the concert. Anytime they're in near town, if it's Portland, we'll make the drive and go see Weezer. The
first time I saw Weezer, Freeman Coliseum, which is a shithole, like, tiny little place here in San Antonio. Opening band, Tenacious D. This is 98.
Yeah, I saw that concert.
No one ever had fucking heard of Tenacious D. No one had any idea who Jack Black was.
Tenacious D.
Yeah. And I was like, who is this fat guy that's singing this crazy song about cock push-ups? And it was Jack Black and Tenacious D, and it was great. Yeah. So that was 25 years ago.
Yeah. I saw that. That was a great show.
We're old. We're old white men. This is fucking Uncle Corner right here. This is welcome to the Uncle Show.
Yeah.
Where it's just old white uncles talking about shit from 30 years ago. For Lance Timmerman, I'm Josh Wasson. Peace. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Rewind and go back to a simple place when I was just a little punk, daydreaming of my escape, listening to Aerosmith. Later on I will call my mom. Now I'm plugging into a Marshall stack. I can be anything I want. I need some of that. It's just what I need. Some of that. We'll be riding on 10 speeds. Some of that. Even if we blow up, we're never gonna grow up. This is where it's at. I've been around the world, and I've seen all kinds of hoods. But this is mine, it's dear to me, 'cause here I'm understood. 'Cause I need some of that. Don't ever leave me. I need some of that. There's nothing on TV. I need some of that. Even if we blow up, we're never gonna grow up. This is where it's at. Even when the sun was fading, I was in my hatchback raging, riding up and down this block, 'cause I own this block. I need some of that. It's just what I need. I need some of that. We'll be riding on 10 speeds. Even if we blow up, we're never gonna grow up, 'cause this is where it's at. I need some of that. Shake it up, baby. Some of that. Driving me crazy. Some of that. Even if we blow up, we're never gonna grow up, 'cause I need some of
This is top secret shit. You're not supposed to like film these boards. It's got all our ideas on it.
Plus, you're not supposed to film him.
Yeah, you can't film.
He's copyrighted.
Can't film what?
I got a copyright on this face.
Okay.
So you're saying that I can't do this?
No, you can't do that. Can't film.